Started. And we're recording. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? I'm going to assume this is all muted on your end. My name is Chris Rice. We were going to have Alice Rodriguez be the host and introduce everything, but she was unavailable, so you're stuck with me this morning. This is the pre-bid meeting for the request for qualifications for HSR contracts 24-60 and 24-61 for right-of-way engineering and survey support services for Merced to Bakersfield. We'll just say that's been abbreviated to Row 1 and Row 2. Today, I will play the role of the moderator. My name is Chris Rice again. I'm a supervising transportation engineer at the High-Speed Rail in the contract administration branch. We also have the the contract managers of Andrew Prack and Ruben Aparicio, both supervising land surveyors. Following them will be Chardonnay Valley, the small business advocate, and then we'll close out with Tanya Southern for any organizational conflicts of interest overviews. To get to the website, we can go to this big link here, hsr.ca.gov, business opportunities, capital contracts. You can also go to the HSR homepage, then select business opportunities. Then you can select procurements from the drop-down list. Finally, select the architectural and engineering and capital contracts, and then select the right-of-way engineering and engineering survey support services. The web page will be updated to include this pre-bid video, along with the PowerPoints and a registration list. If you have any questions, please submit them to myself or Gordon at the email listed here, rowe@hsr.ca.gov. And all questions are due by Friday, May 23rd of this year for both procurements. Now I'll give a brief overview of the entire high-speed rail program and project. Phase 1 is for 494 miles from San Francisco to San Diego, including some links to Sacramento. And it's actually the initial section is San Francisco to Bakersfield. That screen's a little blocked out there. After phase 1, it will extend 300 miles to connect Sacramento to San Diego. The train will travel at approximately 220 miles and with up to 24 train stations. 171 miles are currently under construction or under advanced design in the Central Valley. Again, 463 miles from downtown San Francisco to downtown Los Angeles has been environmentally cleared, with one remaining segment to be environmentally cleared in 2025. Station design is also currently underway for 4 Central Valley stations. There has been 14,000 jobs created, and I believe that number has been recently updated to 15,000 jobs since construction began, with an average of 70% of the workers coming from disadvantaged communities. We've also had over 880 small businesses employed. I believe that number has also been recently updated to be over 900 small businesses that have been employed. So these are a couple drawings of some of the Central Valley, a couple renderings of the Central Valley stations currently under design, including the Merced, Fresno, Kings Tulare, and Bakersfield stations. And some renderings of some of the train sets that we will be eventually procuring. And now I'm going to hand it off to, believe, Andrew for the description of the project.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Andrew Prack. I'm one of the supervising land surveyors here, and I will be the contract manager for the ROWE1 contract. So the authority has issued 2 RFQs to receive statements of qualifications from qualified firms for the right-of-way engineering and survey support services. Both ROWE1 and ROWE2 consultants will provide personnel and expertise to prepare right-of-way appraisal maps, legal descriptions, land surveying, staking, monumentation, record maps, exhibits to support the right-of-way acquisition and/or resolution of necessity packages and other required services. The geographic scope of services for both RFQs will be located in the 171-mile Merced to Bakersfield segment in the Central Valley. As the program evolves, other geographic locations may be added later at the authority's discretion by task order. Next slide. So the procurement and key contract terms. The two RFQs are A&E qualification-based selection procurements. Please refer to the RFQs for more detail regarding the qualifications, criteria, scoring, and evaluation process. The term of both contracts will be for 4 years. Total contract value resulting from each RFQ will not exceed $10 million. The fee is set at 9.5%. The contract includes the authority's current high-speed rail small business program plan requirements, which establishes a 25% small business goal, inclusive of a 3% goal for micro businesses, a separate 10% disadvantaged business enterprise goal, as well as a 3% disabled veteran business enterprise goal. The authority will enter into limited negotiations with the top-ranked offerer for each procurement, and proposed rates and cost will be provided by the top-ranked offerer for each RFQ after the notice of proposed award is issued. A pre-award review will be conducted concurrently with the process to finalize the contracts. I'll pass it over to Ruben for the next slide.
Good morning. I am Ruben Aparicio, supervising land surveyor with the authority, and I will be the contract manager for the ROWE 2 contract. I will be discussing the required key personnel positions and their roles in the contract. The key personnel and additional expertise required. Key personnel are subject matter experts with the qualifications required for this work for the duration of the contract, resulting from each RFQ. The key personnel include principal in charge, project manager, and quality manager. The principal in charge provides oversight of the firm, controls resources, and staffing. It is also the responsibility of the principal in charge to track and manage the key personnel positions in accordance with the contract requirements and to meet scheduling, technical, and work requirements. The project manager will be responsible for the day-to-day activities of the consultant team, serve as the surveyor in responsible charge, and shall be the liaison with the authority's contract manager. The quality manager will be responsible for assuring the professional quality, technical accuracy, completeness, and consistency of all right-of-way engineering activities, documents, and deliverables. Please refer to the RFQ and draft agreements for the specific details and requirements for these key personnel positions. And now back to Andrew.
So the key procurement dates for the ROWE 1 contract, the RFQ was advertised on Monday, April 28th, 2025. The virtual pre-bid conference is this morning. The last day to submit written questions will be Friday, May 23rd. SOQs are due by 12 p.m. Pacific time on July 8th. The notice of proposed award is expected to be in August of 2025, and the notice to proceed issued in September of 2025. And then moving.
Yes, for the ROWE 2 contract, the RFQ is advertised on May 9th, 2025. Today is the virtual pre-bid conference. The last day to submit written questions will be next Friday, May 23rd. The SOQs will be due by 12 p.m. Pacific time on August 5th, 2025. The notice proposed award is expected to be September 2025, and the notice to proceed issued will be in October 2025. And now to Chardonnay.
Thank you, Ruben. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chardonnay Valley. I'm the small business advocate, and I oversee the small business program. My team will be your point of contact for all your small business needs. And on the bottom of the slide, you will find my team's email. Next slide, please. So we have a good number of businesses that are already performing on the contract, a total of 908 that come from all over the state, as you'll see on this map. It designates where they are essentially located, and we also have 31 small businesses that are from outside of the state that are working on the project. In order to meet your goal and in accordance with the Small Business Disabled Veteran Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, or the SBDVBE program, as we refer to it, you will need to designate a small business officer that is responsible for being the point of contact for all things SBDVBE. This person will work closely with my team, and once the contract is executed, a small business officer is designated. My team will hold a kickoff to go over the small business requirements in more detail. Thank you. As of November 2nd, 2023, the authority's board of directors approved changes to the small business program, and contracts executed after that date have a new goal structure. Each contract will be expressed separately based on federal and state funding. While most of the authority's contracts have blended state and federal funds, we now have structures for fully state or federal funded contracts. The slide here shows examples of the SBDVBE DBE goals for contracts with blended funds in 100% state or federal funds. Next slide, please. So for this RFQ and contract incorporates the authority's small business program plan dated as November 2nd, which establishes a 25% small business goal, inclusive of 3% goal for micro businesses. And it also requires a separate 3% disabled veteran business enterprise goal and a 10% disadvantaged business enterprise goal. For both contracts, the blended funds breakdown is 44% state and 56% federal, with the current anticipated total contract value of $10 million. Of this amount, the total small business value is $1,104,444, inclusive of the micro business carve-out value of $33,133. The disadvantaged business enterprise value is $1 million, and the disabled veteran business enterprise value is $300,000. Next slide, please. The authority is committed to diversity, but we are not a certifying agency. We partner with a couple of different agencies to utilize their certification designations, as you see listed here on this slide. Anytime you want to bring a business on board, they have to be certified with these departments here, and their certification must be current and valid. You will want to make sure throughout the time of your small businesses are performing on a contract that their certifications are continuously up to date. Most of these certifications carry a 1 to 2 year term before they need to be renewed, but it is their responsibility to make sure that their certifications are current. The Department of General Services offers the Small Business, Micro Business, and Small Business for Public Works, or SBPW certification, which includes firms who specifically work on public works. The SBPW is beneficial for small firms that have graduated out of the DGS Small Business Program as a result of having worked on this project. The SBPW goes up to 38 million gross annual receipts, increasing every year by 1 million until it reaches 40 million. And they could still qualify as a small business. DGS also offers the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Certification, known as the DVBE. The California Unified Certification Program, which is the Disadvantaged Enterprise Certification, offered by a group of agencies throughout California. Caltrans is the agency in Sacramento that offers this certification statewide, and there are various agencies throughout the state that offer the certification, such as the Bay Area Rapid Transit, and in Southern California, LA Metro. So businesses are able to choose the agency in their region. If you have any firms that are trying to join your team with this certification, please let them know it takes several months to get certified. Next slide, please. So the authority does not prohibit sub-consultants or subcontractors being exclusive to one offerer, but we do strongly discourage this practice. Next slide, please. This slide covers our Connect HSR vendor registry. We encourage all businesses to register with Connect HSR. It's free, it's online, and simple to complete. Businesses who register will be notified of opportunities and workshops hosted by HSR and other agency partners and can learn about how HSR does business. We encourage businesses to join and register. And if you need more information on getting registered, please reach out to me and I will put you in contact with someone from my team that can help assist with this process. Next slide. All right. So today, right after this workshop at 11 a.m., the Small Business Program will host a workshop specifically to go over the small business program requirements. This session will cover how small businesses can get certified and the small business compliance requirements. To join us and gain valuable insights, please use the QR code displayed on this slide, and I hope to see you there. Thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions about the small business program, please make sure to send us an email at sbprogram@hsr.ca.gov. And now I'll turn it over to Tanya Southern.
Thanks, Chardonnay. Thank you everyone for attending and good morning. My name is Tanya Southern. I'm an attorney with the Authority's Legal Office and Procurement Advisor. Next slide, please, Chris. This presentation section is on the organizational conflict of interest. Maybe not the most exciting topic, but it is very important and it is necessary in order to engage in the procurement and hopefully be on the winning team that is awarded a contract. The reason we have an organizational conflict of interest policy is, one, our federal grants require it. Two, it ensures a fair and transparent procurement process, maximizing competition and minimizing exposure due to bid protests, and it also ensures compliance with state and federal procurement laws. We had originally adopted our policy in 2011, and it was last updated in 2023. And I'm not sure if my camera is on. Chris, can you tell me? It says it's on, but I'm not seeing it. Are you having?
I see you. You're
okay,
good.
thank you. We have the definition here. It's one of the key elements of our organizational conflict of interest policy. And I won't bore you with the whole definition, but the main aspects of that create a conflict would be an impairment or potential impairment of the contractor's ability to render impartial assistance or advice to the authority, and it impacts the objectivity in performing the work for the authority, or there's an unfair competitive advantage for any contractor bidding or proposing on an authority procurement. Next slide, please. For the organizational conflict of interest, there are two general situations in which an organizational conflict of interest will be found to exist for a consultant or a contractor. First example is a contractor has an unfair competitive advantage. And this example, the first we have here is a contractor has an inside or non-public information about a procurement. And the next example is a contractor provides services related to a procurement and then bids on that. Both of those examples would be where we would find a conflict of interest that can be mitigated and would prohibit a contract award to that entity or a sub working on the contract. Next, a contractor's objectivity in performing its contractual obligations to the authority would be compromised such that it couldn't provide impartial assistance and give impartial or non-subjective advice. And the example we give here is a contractor already is on contract A, and it then is in a position to oversee its own work or impact future work of its own through another contract. We'll call it contract B. Sometimes we can mitigate. We'll go through that in the next slides. Sometimes we cannot mitigate. And if the mitigation isn't possible, then we'll have an organizational conflict of interest prohibiting work on the contract. Next slide, please. For the organizational conflict of interest policy, we do like to stress that there is flexibility. A common misperception in the past has been that contractors or consultants are generally conflicted out simply because they have a current contract and are providing current work on the project. So that's not true. And it's only in examples that are in the conflict of interest policy, or for example, the factors we just talked about in the previous slide. So where some conflicts arise, we will try to always mitigate them. If In fact, many of you may have already had conflict of interest determinations or been aware of other entities that have had them in the past. The vast majority of these determinations are where we do find that the contractor may participate in the procurement and resulting contract. The policy does provide that the authority recognizes that its goals must be balanced with the need to unnecessarily restrict the pool of potential offerers in this case. And if a potential conflict is recognized, then in the determination, we will outline steps that would lead to proper mitigation, and we will confirm with subject matter experts, such as the contract managers, to ensure that safeguards can be, in fact, devised and then implemented. And that will allow an entity to keep its work on a current contract and permit participation in this procurement and potentially the resulting contract. So, such safeguards are commonly applied, and they do allow participation. We do commonly have efforts for these mitigations like ethical walls, separate work teams, and release of work product where there's non-public information. Next slide, please. So we do have a process for the organizational conflict of interest reviews. First, if you are interested, I'd like to draw your attention to section 3.7 of the RFQs of both of them, and that is the section on the organizational conflict of interest policy. If you are interested and you have another contract, or you're worried that you would have one, we highly recommend that you obtain a conflict of interest determination in advance. If you have never worked on the high-speed rail project, or you don't have a current contract on the high-speed rail project, it's safe to assume you don't need to request a determination. And when you do fill out your organizational conflict of interest form that's in the procurement, you can confidently say that there is no conflict. However, we'll go in through it in a few other slides. If you currently are working on the project, or if your company is hopefully bidding on both of these RFQs, then you will need to submit an organizational conflict of interest determination request. Next slide, please. So this is the important notice that I just kind of alluded to before. It's also on our website. This is unusual for this procurement, so I want to make sure that everyone is clear. For these procurements, the scope of work and the geographic scope is identical. The work encompasses the entire 171-mile Merced to Bakersfield segment, and the scope of work is for right-of-way land surveying and engineering services that are detailed in the scope of work. Because you will be working potentially, if you bid on two or of both of these RFQs, or have another existing contract on any of this part of the high-speed rail sections, you will potentially have a conflict, because you will potentially have two contracts on the same project segment. So because of that, we are advising you that you are required, your company, whether you're a prime or a subcontractor, you're required to submit a request for an organizational conflict of interest. We'll go through that on the next slide. Failure to submit one prior to submittal of an SOQ won't automatically prohibit you, but it could delay the contract award if you are on the successful offerer team. Next slide, please. How to request an OCOI determination. Again, we have set this out in section 3.7, and we've also given a checklist of items that we normally require to make sure we have all the facts and documents related to an organizational conflict of interest determination. So you would send to the email here. It's the Office of Chief Counsel's email, legal@hsr.ca.gov. Please reference the RFQ number or RFQ numbers. And if you're planning on submitting both, please just make that notation. In section 3.7 of both RFQs, we do have a checklist. Items 1 through 8, if you submit that at the time you are requesting your determination, it will streamline the process. Otherwise, we have to go back and request information. There may be times when we require a little additional information, but this will be sufficient for us to get going with the analysis. And it is a very detailed factual-based analysis, and it generally will take a little bit of time. We shoot for 1 to 2 weeks. However, they can take up to a month, depending on how complex the request is and how many contracts or affiliates the entity requesting the termination has. The process is outlined a little bit here. We receive a request, an attorney will be assigned. An attorney conducts the investigation. Also, we will ask you, as I said, for additional information if we need it. We also will consult, as I said before, a contract manager or other staff member of the authority that would have information in order to confirm if we are able to mitigate to the extent that we found a potential conflict. And then the chief counsel, it's usually peer reviewed by other attorneys. The assistant chief counsel will review it. Ultimately, it's the chief counsel's decision and makes the final determination. And then we will send you a letter. The letter will confirm if there is no conflict, or if there is a potential conflict and mitigation measures are required, or if unfortunately there would be a conflict that is an actual conflict and able to not be mitigated. So those would be the 3 types of determination letters you would receive. Again, the vast majority would be that you can participate and any potential conflict can be mitigated. If the requester does not agree with the determination, there is a possibility to contact the chief counsel and provide if there's any additional relevant facts and information. So we will take another look at it if there is something that you think would affect the determination we provided. Next slide, please. So for this one, I'm going to pass it back to Chris, and I want to thank everyone again for participating today.
Thank you again. So here we have again the links to the procurements. It's on our homepage, hsr.ca.gov. Select business opportunities, and then from the procurements drop-down list, select the the architectural and engineering and capital contracts, and then select the right-of-way and engineering survey support services RFQ button. The webpage will be updated to include this pre-bid video, PowerPoint presentations, as well as a registrant list. Any questions that you have, you can submit them to rowe@hsr.ca.gov, and all written questions are due by next Friday, May 23rd of this year. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for attending. Thank you. Let's see here. Gordy.